In this lesson, we're going to learn how to clean up debris and trash from our seamless textures. Alright, so taking a look at this image, if you want to open up leaves_01 to follow along in your raw images folder, you can do so. And looking at this image, we have a little bit of debris and trash in this raw image. And you can see it here up the top left corner here, as well as on that left seam. And I really wanted to kind of give you the thought process that you should take whenever trying to figure out if a texture or image is worth working on. And looking at this, the debris that I have is up at the top left corner and on the left seam. And I think that I can work with this because I can sample from this right side and cover most of this up. Now I will have to do a little bit of work up here at the top to get rid of all of that, but I think that's definitely doable. So these are some decisions that you'll have to make whenever you're trying to create seamless textures. You may not get the perfect texture all the time, but you do need to do a little bit of an evaluation whether or not it is really feasible to save it. Okay, so with this, let's go ahead and start to clean this up a little bit. So let's drag out our bottom guide here, and it looks like it's right around 31. And let's bring out another one. Let's go to 31 here. And actually it's, I believe it's 32. Yes. So let's go to about 32. And we should have our square texture here. Let's go ahead and take this remainder off the right side and bring it over to our left, like we've been doing. So, not really learning anything new just yet. Let's layer via cut. Bring that over the left side. And just looking at that, you can see that we're getting rid of most of that debris. Now we can come in here with our eraser brush. Let's go ahead and set up our brush here and make sure that it's set up properly. I'm going to do some shape dynamics, things like that. And it looks like my pen pressure is off, so let's make sure that's turned on. There we go. And let's come in here and let's start to erase out that seam. Okay, so let's just take that down. You can take your opacity down to around 55% or so, just like we've been doing, and just get rid of that seam. Now, with this specific texture, we do have a lot of leaves, but we do have a variance in color, so we want to make sure that we're trying to match up the colors as best as possible. So I don't want one leaf brown and then half green. Okay, so those are some things you want to watch out for. Now, we've gone ahead and we've gotten rid of that seam there, and we're looking really good so far. Let's go ahead and crop out the rest of our image. So let's crop that, and we're going to hit OK. And let's go ahead and merge these together. So merge layers, and then we can go ahead and do our offsets. We're going to go to Other, and then Offset. Okay, so we're going to do 1024 by 1024, and you can definitely see that seam across the top there. So let's go ahead and just kind of get rid of that trash at the top. So let's hit Control F so it'll offset again. And let's actually hit Control Z one time. And let's hit Control Alt Z again, just to go back to that original there. And let's get rid of this junk up here at the top. So one way that we could do this is we could use our patch tool to get started here. So let's go ahead and just circle around that trash, and let's sample a different area, and let's try to keep the colors pretty consistent here with what we've got, and that should blend together. And that's going to take a little bit of time to think, and we should be pretty close to what we have. Now you can come in and you can start to break this up even more, so I'm not really liking how this is blended together here, so let's take care of that. And let's come in and let's do something a little bit different. Let's try to get some broader leaves in there. And that's pretty close to matching up there. Let's hit Control D, and now you can see that that works a little bit better. So we've gotten rid of that debris in there. Now let's go in and let's go to Filter, and let's hit Offset here. And let's take care of that problem there. So looking at this, we're going to come in here, we're going to use our patch tool again, or you could, just like we did in the last lesson, let's hit Control Alt Z. You could duplicate this layer. Oh, excuse me. Let's hit Control J to duplicate. let's lasso out the middle of this, and let's make sure that we get a good circle, not any weird shapes off the edge there. Let's right click and let's layer via cut. Hide that lower layer, and let's go to layer 1, filter, and we're going to do offset. Okay, let's go ahead and erase those seams just like we have been doing before. Let's make sure that we're not erasing the lower seam there. Let me try this one more time. There we go. Now let's go to layer 2. Let's erase those seams, trying to get this to blend a little bit better. And just like we did in the last lesson, we're going to use that patch tool to start to recreate those details and start to kind of mix it up a little bit, making it look a little more natural. Now with textures like this, with leaves and gravel and things like that, it's a little bit easier to get the look that we want. Because everything is so random anyway, it's a little bit easier to do this. Alright, so let's go ahead and merge these layers. And let's merge that. Let's take this one. Let's just delete that lower one there. And let's come in here and use our patch tool. So let's get these seams here. Let's try to get those to match up as best as possible. And let's get this seam. And again, let's make sure that we're not going all the way out to the edge there. We don't want to mess with that seam on the outside. Okay, so just kind of looking for some colors that are about the same, sort of the same shape. And let's come in and let's break up some of these different areas here. Okay, just kind of looking at that, it's going to think, kind of blend those colors together. And right up in here, that's a little bit of an issue for me. I can definitely see that seam there. Something like that. Seeing how that's blending together fairly well. Hit Control D. And looking at this seam, I'm pretty happy with that. I might come in here, go a little bit further down on that. Hit Control D. And I'm pretty happy with this texture so far. Might come in here, do one more. Alright, so we've successfully removed that debris and that trash off that left side, but the major thing that I wanted you to get from this course is evaluating whether or not the image is worth saving. Okay, so if you've got debris in it that you didn't necessarily pay attention to or didn't see like I did with this image, you want to evaluate first if it's even worth saving. Is it something that I could go back out really quickly and get a different texture, something that I could do a little bit better? All these things should be questions you should ask yourself just to save yourself some time during the production of these simple textures here. Alright, so in our next lesson, we're going to take one more look at raw images and how we can create seamless textures from those. But what we're going to look at specifically in that next lesson is how to take care of specific detail like metal rivets on a metal surface. Alright, so I'll see you then.